Hey guys, I'm Fancy, and you're watching the Good Wives Network. And today I have come on to talk again about Gypsy Rose Blanchard, of course. And I would normally play last night's replay and do all of that, but there was a lot of crazy TikTok drama going on last night in the lives. And so I'm not going to post that one. It was a lot of good information, and I'm having somebody work on cutting clips for you guys. But I thought I would come on today and I wanted to talk to you guys. But first, I want to play this message. This is a friend of mine. Her name is Ryan. Hey guys, she is now part of the Good Wives team officially. And this is a PSA that she put out about why she decided, as a victim of abuse, of all different kinds of things, why her mind has been changed about Gypsy, and why it isn't so important as to why she's going so hard on this and what she feels about it as far as warning the public and how it goes. So I'm going to play this real quick, and I hope it works well.
If you never listen to any of my videos, listen to this one, because I'm going to tell you something that I want you to put in the back of your head for a month from now, a year from now, 5 years from now. Please listen to this one. She did her time. Why do you care? I'm going to tell you why I care, why I'm making all these videos. There's always a precedence, and with precedence comes copycats. And some impressionable social media teenager right now is watching Gypsy get millions of followers and fame and money and popularity, and they're sitting in their room and they're pissed that their mom didn't get them the newest video game or the newest Jeffree Star palette. And they're going to equate that with abuse, which is what I've seen happen time and time again. Well, my mom didn't let me do this, and my mom didn't let me do that. And what they're going to do is they're going to go screaming abuse. They're going to make up stories that cannot be verified. They are going to say something, and then they're going to kill their parent. And then they're going to say, well, Gypsy did it. What happened to Gypsy? I'll get out and I'll have followers and I'll have fame and I'll have book deals and I'll have TV shows and I'll have millions of dollars, and I won't have to deal with my mom not giving me everything I want because she was abusing me. There will be a fucking copycat at some point in time. And I think that's what everybody is missing about the fact of why we fucking talk about this, because we are actually trying to set out to save someone else's life. If you never listen to any of my videos, listen to this one, because I.
All right, guys. So that's a very important message. Okay. It's a very important message, and you can disagree with it. You can not like it. You can think that it's overreacting, but it's not. And it is a precedent that it will be set. There are copycat killers. Why do you think that serial killers have copycat killers? It's because there is this is setting a precedent. This is setting a precedent for kids to take their parents' lives because they weren't loved enough or they weren't cared for enough or whatever reason. And I'm not saying that abuse doesn't happen, because it does. It happened to me. It happened to Ryan. It's probably happened to almost all of us. Okay. And I just don't think that we should be out here promoting this person to our youth to be looking up to. Hold on. So if you don't agree with me, I don't know if you guys have seen my video that I've put up reading this. Okay. But I'm going to take some unpopular opinions today after I read this. I have some things I want to talk about Dee Dee. Okay. All right. But we're not just hammering on her because we just don't like Gypsy Rose. We're hammering on her because this is a very dangerous situation. And clearly, the media, the news, the public are not hearing us. But they will hear us when this becomes a problem in a problem in society again. And then we're all going to be like, oh, how did we miss it? How did we miss it? Because you weren't looking, because you weren't paying attention. But I want to read something. This is from the supplemental report, and I've read it several times now, but I think it's the most important thing that we have out right now of her, in her words, of exactly who Gypsy Rose is. This is a supplemental report by Stan Hancock. Okay. It is in the Discovery case file. You can find the discovery case file all over, but you can find it in our Patreon, of course. Okay. And I appreciate everybody joining the Patreon. You guys have really helped us a ton be able to do more things that we are wanting to do for the channel, for our content creators, for everyone. I totally appreciate it. Thank you so very much. But let me read this. It says, I was notified by Springfield Police Department computer forensic analyst Michael Costello in reference to audio video footage he located involving Gypsy Rose Blanchard. The audio video was 15 minutes long. The following is a summation of the recorded audio video of Gypsy Blanchard. It is not included as a transcript or exact text of the recording. However, he does quote direct quotes in here, and I will tell you where they are. In this audio video, Gypsy appears in what looks like a black and color jacket with red wig, addressing it to Nicholas from Gypsy, calling him sir. She states, "Hi, sir, this is Ruby, and I'm making this video as an introduction video." Gypsy admits Ruby is the most evil side of her. Gypsy stated in this audio video, she likes to get into trouble, and she is not sorry when she gets caught. Gypsy stated her caring was broken, and she was not scared of law enforcement, but she would be scared of Nicholas's evil side. Gypsy stated she would do anything with Nicholas, to include murder, rape, and assault. Gypsy tells Nicholas if at any time a girl tried to become his girlfriend, she would kill them with pleasure, and there would be lots of gore and blood. Gypsy stated if a girl was trying to get with Nicholas for sex, she might allow it. But if the girl tried to get with him as a girlfriend, she would kill her, and they could kill her together. Gypsy goes on to say how if it were family members murdered, she would not be so brutal, and she would have to step back and let him handle it. Gypsy stated she would allow Nicholas to rape her anytime he wanted to, but not physically assault her. But she was okay with rough sex and rape sex. Gypsy talked about the romantic side of Ruby and how Ruby was not touchy-feely. However, Kitty, Candy, and Bella were the romantic sides of her. Gypsy stated in this audio video she was very good at stealing and talked about how they could steal bigger things together. Gypsy talked about how she was very good at planning things. Gypsy stated she liked to cause mischief and mayhem, but Nicholas would have to put her in charge of all the planning. Gypsy stated she comes up with very, very bad ideas. And then she referred to her bad ideas as robbery, rape, vandalism, and stealing vehicles. The remainder of the video, Gypsy talked about her and Nicholas bonding when they could finally be together. Other than the above mentioned statements, there was nothing else of evidentiary value of the audio video footage. A copy of the DVD was attached to this report and was logged into evidence. Okay. And the reason that I found this, now I've had this, okay? I've had this. And I overlooked it. You can see I freaking, at one point in time, I highlighted the hell out of it, okay? But then I set it aside because I wasn't looking at the correct things, because the Blanchards and Gypsy were creating such distraction. It kept my team from actually focusing on the things we needed to focus on to really understand this, okay? I don't care if she had role playing or not. This is not role playing. This is dangerous and gross. Okay. And the reason that I found this was other videos that are being put forward in Nick's appeal came out that I knew about and had not seen yet and was hoping to see. And so I went looking to find the files on that. And that's when I came across this. And when I read it, guys, I have to tell you, okay, you all know my journey with Gypsy has not been good. You all know that my journey with her has been tumultuous, that I have been not pro-Gypsy for a very long time. But when I saw this, it was shocking because it's literally her. This is her. This is the real Gypsy. And the video that is her of Demona floating around right now of her threatening to take Gypsy away from Nick, that's what she was doing. She was threatening to either off Gypsy or take him away from Nick if he would not do the deed that she was asking him to do. There is no proof that Gypsy has ever been sexually assaulted in her entire life. That is a claim that she makes, and I am all for sexually assault victims and believing them, but she cannot do that and not have proof. And yes, I do think the grandfather's reaction was odd, but the man says weird things, first of all, and second of all, you have no idea what an editor can do to clip things to make things look one way or another. Okay? So don't come in here with her, she was sexually assaulted, boo-hoo crap. Yeah, she also claims that Nick raped her and he did not. She's taking valor from victims. All right. It gets me very upset, especially when I talk about this. Okay. And so I'm going to take an unpopular opinion today. Okay. And I want to talk about Dee Dee. And I want to talk about what we know about Dee Dee, what we can actually prove about Dee Dee, and what Gypsy says about Dee Dee. Okay. And I want you to keep an open mind as we have this conversation. I'm willing to discuss it with you in the chat. If you guys are willing to be respectful and discuss it like logical human beings and adults. Okay. What if we've looked at this really wrong? Gypsy keeps talking about how she doesn't want to make her mother out to be a monster, correct? She said it to me in an email. She said it on freaking interviews. She said it all over, right? Oh, I agree. She's totally mentally unstable. That's a given. It's a given, okay? But if Gypsy doesn't want to make her mother look like a monster so much, why is she adding in so many things that make her look like a monster? For instance, the freaking jar. And Ryan, who was on here earlier tonight, she, earlier in my thing, she did the PSA. She's on our channel. She's now a part of this. She is into witchcraft. She knows all of this. She practices Wicca, okay? And she talks about the jar. That jar and that story is simply used. Honestly, it has no basis in this freaking story whatsoever, to be honest with you. And it is all Gypsy saying no one's ever found a jar. No one knows about a fucking jar. It's just a story. And I've heard the story many times, and it just keeps getting more and more and more convoluted and more at making Dee Dee look insanely crazy. The witchcraft is not why Rod left her. Nah, Rod left her because Rod's a deadbeat fuckhead dad. Sorry. I'm going to get real freaking real today. You guys are not going to like some of the things I say, I guarantee you. Okay? I'm tired of giving that man a pass. A pass. That man is a deadbeat. He allowed all of this to happen. He knew it was happening. He was told it was happening. He did nothing to protect his child. Nothing. So if you want to think it's medical child abuse, which I don't think it is, then you need to blame Rod just as much as you want to blame Dee Dee, because that man did no things to protect his child. None. Yes, I can make you a mod, Betty. Thank you. I don't know how to do that. Hold on. Oh, let me take that out of there. Damn it. I don't know how to make you a mod. Whatever. Okay. All right. So let's think about Dee Dee for a minute, okay? Now, first of all, we know that there's a pattern of this generational type of abuse in this family, okay? So think about that for a minute. And I'm not talking medical child abuse. I'm talking about generational abuse as a con family, a crime con artist family, okay? And not everyone in their family is guilty of this, but many in their family is guilty of this. And it is something that their family does, okay? And Dee Dee was subjected to it by her mother. And she learned that by being sick, she could get her way with things, okay? Because Dee Dee is a master manipulator, just like Emma was, her mother, okay? I'm going to get to questions, guys, I promise, but please, let me explain it, okay? So Dee Dee learned very early on that being sick got her where she didn't have to do things. She got special treatment from her mama, and her mama perpetuated all of that with her, right? Okay. So then Dee Dee had a complex her entire life of wanting to have fame and fortune, right? Everybody says it. Titania says it. Rod says it. Suzette says it. These are all people that were in her life her whole life, and they all say it. Her sisters and siblings say it. So, okay. So then Dee Dee has this baby. And her husband, who's a piece of shit, leaves her to go run off with the love of his life, Christy, who does nothing but cause problems in this relationship whatsoever, including other children that are involved that are not her children that she convinced Rod to give up as well. Okay. So what if this all started off as a way to keep a guy at first, right? Okay. You know, she's got breathing problems, Rod. She's got breathing problems. Or maybe there were breathing problems. We don't know. The only thing we know is what is in the medical records and what Gypsy has told us. We don't know anything else. Okay? I can say within a shadow of a doubt at this point, I am 99% certain, and so is Colleen, who has a master's in nursing education and teaches nursing. We have looked at all of her files. We have them all. Okay. And I don't want to get into why we have them all again because I've explained that enough. Okay. But everything that was actually done, not said that it was done, not billed that it was done, because there is absolutely no question in my mind there is medical fraud happening. Okay. Absolutely medical fraud happening. We're going to get to that in a second. Everything else, I can find a medical reason why it was necessary for Gypsy, not just in general, for Gypsy. Her crumbling teeth started when she was 4 and 5 and 6 years old. She was having caps put on at that point in time. She was having problems at that point in time. Long before she ever took seizure medications or any kind of the crazy medications that she went, okay? My surgery went well. Thank you very much. I'm doing great. My scars are a little itchy, but that's it. Okay. So the crumbling teeth, okay? Not to mention, this girl admits to Nick in text messages that she never stopped sucking Pediasure from a bottle. Okay, so could that just be possible dental hygiene issues? We've talked about this, right? Okay. The eye surgeries. Well, you looked at Gypsy when she was little. She had crazy eyes. She's got a lazy eye, a seriously lazy eye. And it's the type of corrective surgery that she needed to have over and over and over again for her to actually be able to see well. And notice she isn't wearing glasses now. And I bet she has contacts, but I don't know. Okay. No, I don't think they're related. I don't know. Maybe they are. Who knows? He's weird looking. Okay. She was a cross-eyed little baby. That's exactly it. Okay. So those were medically necessary. She had tubes put in her ears. Okay. That's very common for children. Always. My children had them. Okay. In fact, my grandson right now has to have them and he's 3 years old. Okay. All right. So there you go. You've got your teeth. You've got your ears. You've got your eyes. Let's talk about the feeding tube. Now, we don't have the feeding tube when it was placed. It was never maintained by a doctor. Okay. Okay. Never maintained by a doctor. Only seen in the emergency room. And Gypsy was diagnosed very young as failure to thrive. We've all seen how little she is. She was failure to thrive. They probably put the feeding tube in when she was failure to thrive. Not to mention all the dental surgery she was having all her life could have caused her to have a feeding tube because they put them in for that if she's having a hard time eating. Okay. And here's the thing about the feeding tube. It may not have been needed all the time. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. You'll get to the replay. It may not have been needed for her whole life, but here's one of the things you don't understand about medical things if you're not a medical professional. And I had to learn this myself. All right. I had to go find out about this. If a doctor does not place that thing in her body, a lot of them will not take it out. Just like braces on your teeth. If you don't go back to the dentist the orthodontist who placed the braces on your teeth, many dentists will not remove them. Okay. So, all right. So now we've covered her teeth. We've covered her eyes. We've covered her ears and we've covered the feeding tube, correct? Okay. That's it, guys. That's it. There's a muscle biopsy because she refuses to walk in Louisiana. And that's the very last thing that they do in Louisiana before they end up in Missouri. I think the gig was up because it was written in the file in very big, bold letters that they did send in the Missouri doctors. Gypsy Rose does not have muscular dystrophy. It's not a test result where it's just saying, oh, no, it's written in the doctor's notes very boldly. And the doctor that appeared on TV that said he didn't know all those, bullshit. He's the one who got them. And I've already caught Dr. Steele in lies, and I posted them already. Okay. So now we've talked about the medical stuff. This is why I don't think it's medical child abuse. The rest of it is medical fraud. It is things that were said. Oh, my daughter has cancer, but there was no cancer doctors or any cancer medication. Oh, my daughter has muscle dystrophy. Well, we've already proved that isn't true. And the doctors were very diligently trying to figure out why she couldn't walk. Okay. We've talked about, and medical fraud happened. Absolutely happened. Absolutely. And this is why she's not able to go after the doctors, guys, because there is no medical child abuse in this case. That's the problem. And I looked at it wrong for many, many years until I really, really got into this. Okay. And it makes me angry because I have a child who has a disease, a disorder that is very misunderstood in the United States. And it's very hard for me to get help for her. It's been very hard for me to get help for a lot of my own medical problems and my daughter's medical problems. And it really pisses me off that she could do this. But how could she do this without a doctor's help? She had a doctor's help. The doctor that saw her in Louisiana from 4 years old on is the same doctor that saw her in Missouri. It's the doctor she contacted. It's the doctor that that helped her get the Habitat house. Okay. All right. So now I want you to think about Dee Dee. This is a woman who learned early on that manipulating people and pretending to be sick or pretending different things, okay, got you things that you wanted. And she was after fame and fortune. And how was she going to ever get that living on the bayou? She wasn't, okay? Dee Dee wanted more than the bayou life. And she wanted to give her daughter more than the bayou life. And I believe with all my heart and all my being that Dee Dee loved her kid. Regardless of how you think that love goes, okay? A parent can be an abusive parent and still love their children. My mother was. My mother had mental health issues caused by medications that she was taking for diabetes that was uncontrolled. And it made my mother very, very crazy. Okay? So here we are. Dee Dee's now a single mother. She doesn't like her family very much. She doesn't get along with them. They don't like her. Okay? She's got to provide for this little girl. What better way for her to provide for her little girl than to give her everything she wants? And all she's got to do is sit in this damn wheelchair and pretend once in a while that she's sick. Think about the things that Gypsy says. She doesn't talk about abuse she talks about control. My mother was controlling too. But we want to know what I think is controlling? What I think she thought was controlling? Think about this, okay? Let's talk about the time she supposedly ran away, okay? Twice. She ran away twice, right? Once at the Comic-Con, and she was found in the dude's hotel room, and that was an older man, and Gypsy and Dee Dee flipped, right? Okay, she was going to run off with that guy somewhere, all right? I'm not reading the comments, guys, but I will get to them. And then the second time, she runs away to Dan, right? And we're supposed to believe that she doesn't have any type of sexual relationships with these guys, even though she's alone with them for hours and days on end. But Nick was her first. Oh, wait, no, he wasn't. Oh, wait, he was. Which story are we supposed to believe? Okay. So she runs away with Dan. She sneaks out of her mom's house. She's 19 at this point. Okay. He is 35 years old. Looking at a 19-year-old girl who looks like she's fucking 12. Okay? Yes, they are still practicing, and I'm trying to make sure that this doesn't happen, that we can do something about it. All right. So she runs away with him. Not only, she doesn't just run away, she leaves her home. Okay? She's over the age of 19. That's called leaving your fucking house. She leaves. And Dan's got a rap sheet for miles, guys. Miles. He's still in trouble. I have his mugshots and everything. Okay? Okay. So she leaves and she walks 3 blocks over. And this has been accounted before by 2 different people. The person that actually drove her and Gypsy have told the story. So I can verify that it's true because a certain person outside of Gypsy actually said it was true. Okay. So here we go. She walks 3 blocks over. She knocks on a stranger's door. So you're telling me she can knock on a stranger's door to be able to be taken to a hospital to see a sick friend who she's very worried about, but yet she can't knock on a door or stand up or tell anyone besides Nicholas, even though she's in contact with her dad through freaking social media on freaking tons and tons of fake accounts that her mama don't know about, supposedly, even though she's online talking to men all the time, even though she's doing all these different things, okay, she can walk 3 blocks over, knock on a stranger's door and say, hey, can you please take me to the hospital because my friend is really, really not good. Dad had been beaten up in a bar fight. That's what had happened. Okay. So she gets to the hospital. Now, this is not the hospital that knows who Gypsy Rose is. Okay. Because Gypsy goes to the children's hospital. This is not the children's hospital. She is in a hospital the entire time she's with Dan. She says nothing to nobody. She doesn't say, hey, I'm really scared. My mom is, nope. She's there for Dan, the man she is in love with. Okay. She's in love with this man, 35-year-old man. Thinks she's 12 and she's 19 years old and she is in love with this man. Okay. So he gets out of the hospital and they go home to his roommate's house. And he is talking about taking her and going to Arkansas. Okay. Because that's where Dan wanted to move. And I don't know if he's there now or not, but that's one of the things. And this is the same guy that, guys, years later, 1 week before she's supposed to be running off with the love of her life, and that's why she needs to run off with her boyfriend and her mama won't let her and all this other stuff, right? Okay. She's asking if she can have sex with this man while they murder her mother. While her boyfriend is coming to murder her mother so that they could be together. Okay. So now she's in this roommate situation. And I think it's the roommates that dimed her out to her mama. I think they knew her and they knew him from the Comic-Cons and all that crap. And I think that's who dimed her out. They dimed her out to one of her friends. Her friends called the mama. And supposedly, now some people say this didn't even happen, that she never even went there. Okay. But I'm going with the benefit of the doubt that she did. Okay. Shows up at Dan's door, knocks on the door. Bang, 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 bang. You better let my daughter come out here. Blah, 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 blah. Right? She's freaking out. She's mom. She's freaking out. Her 19-year-old daughter is in there with a 35-year-old man. This is not happening. She's not going to have that. Right? She threatens to call the police and charge him with statutory rape. Does Gypsy say, go ahead, Mom. I'm 19 years fucking old and you can't do anything about it. And the police will come here and they're going to see that you've been doing this to me all these years. Nope. You know what Gypsy does? She goes home with her. She goes home with her willingly. There's no police called. There's no incident. No police ever dragged her back to her fucking home. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little angry today. Okay? No one dragged her back to her freaking house. She willingly went with her mother and then continued to perpetuate the lie for years and years after this. Okay? Mind you, at the same time in 2009, when all of this is happening, that's when she's 19 years old. No, I'm sorry, it's the year before. So 1 year before this, okay? So this is when she's 19. 1 year before this, Dr. Steele, the doctor that appeared on the Lifetime show that I told you I caught in lies, says that he called in on a kidnapping charge, right? Suspected kidnapping charge to CPS. He did not call it in as a suspected kidnapping charge. And I read the actual investigation from CPS and the officers that went out to the house on that day. There were 2 officers and 2 CPS workers available in her home. And they were there investigating medical child abuse. Not kidnapping, medical child abuse. Okay? They were unable at the time to substantiate a birth certificate or any of her medical records or any medical conditions that she had. So that means what? What was Gypsy doing? Was she standing up? Was she pretending she was fine? Was she talking to them? Was she telling them everything was good? Right? These officers are there to help you on the request of your doctor. So remember, she says she doesn't think she's ever going to be believed. Well, the doctor fucking believed you. He said CPS and a freaking police officers out to your freaking home. Okay? Hey, Zen, you're not going to like my conversations today, babe. Okay? All right? She had every opportunity. She didn't have to say anything other than, I don't feel safe here. I want to leave. Hell, she didn't even have to say, I don't feel safe here. All she had to say was, I don't want to be here. And they, as police officers, not DCFS, because they couldn't do anything, because they realized once they verified it that she was over the age of 18, that they found her birth certificate. They did. They had it. They verified her social security number, and she had an ID that had her correct age on it. Okay. It's all in the records, guys. This is all in records. And she didn't feel that she could stand up and walk out the door. They would have been duty bound to take her to some sort of shelter, a women's shelter, a domestic violence shelter, or whatever. And she chose not to. Okay? She chose not to. Because it's all a fraud and it's all a con. And while I do agree that she had control over Gypsy, because she probably told her, hey, if you turn me in, you're going down for this. But turning mom in is not the same thing as just fucking leaving. I understand, Zen. I was very afraid of my mother too, and it didn't stop me from leaving. Okay? I lived in fear of my mother for 17 years. And the day that I graduated from high school, the very next day, I was the hell out. And I'm not saying that my trauma is hers, and I'm not saying that my situation is hers, but there's lots of abused children that get the fuck out and don't murder their fucking parents. I left because I was afraid. Okay? I left. Gypsy wasn't afraid of her mother. She was afraid of the consequences of them finding out that she had participated, perpetuated, and facilitated the fraud past the age of 18. Now, here's a really interesting fact about that, guys, though. Do you know when the last invasive procedure was done? Do you know when the last time Gypsy Rose saw doctors? 2011. 2011. It was the dental surgeries and the very last eye surgery that she ever had. Okay? Her mother was not well. She was online all hours of the day and night with boys, men. Let's call them men. Men, not boys, men. 30s, 40-year-old men. Nick was a patsy. He was brought in to do something she knew she had to do because it was the only way to escape all the fraud. What better way for her to escape all the fraud but to take the person who's committing the fraud with her out of the equation? Okay, there were no bells on the doors. Her mom wasn't tying her up to beds or herself or with chains or with handcuffs. I don't freaking know. She's told so many damn stories. This is why I don't believe any of her stories. I'd love to believe one story that she tells. Just one. Just one. She was in contact with her dad. Okay? He knew. She knew. They all fucking knew. This is why I get so mad. It's not because I'm unhappy that she's making millions of dollars. I am unhappy she's making millions of dollars because I think it's tragic and sad that she is profiting off of killing her mother and convincing a mentally unstable, and I mean a very mentally unstable guy, to do this. And Nick deserves a fair trial, and he didn't get one because she lied, and the DA covered it up. And I don't know why the DA covered it up. I have lots of reasons why I believe the DA covered it up. I have investigated 4 other freaking cases that involve that DA and not doing his job properly. I have investigated 3 other cases that involve that hospital and specific doctors at that hospital not doing what they're supposed to be doing. There is a child missing today, right now. He is missing with his abuser that abused his mother and him and another child because DCFS and Dan Patterson and the law enforcement in that town did nothing. No matter how many times we called them, no matter how many times we asked for them to help us, no matter how much evidence I tried to tell them there was, and they allowed that man to kidnap her child, and he is missing today, and we do not know where that child is. They got their fall guy. Do I think Dan's involved? Possibly. He did testify in Nick's appeal. And in his testimony, guess what he said? Guess what he said, guys? That he was actually very sexually active with Gypsy, and that the role playing that they did was the role playing that she initiated and brought to him. So she was already role playing with people before she frickin' got together with Nick, and he supposedly introduced her to the horrible BDSM. Yes, I think that's exactly it. I think she didn't want to be a caregiver anymore, just like Dee Dee didn't want to be a caregiver to her mother anymore. Think about the things that Gypsy says her mother said as her final words. We've heard two different versions now, and I think both of them are actually true. Okay? I don't know, honey. I really don't know, and I can't say one way or the other, but I'm not going to call a man out when I don't have proof on it. I can't believe her stories. She's become an unreliable narrator. So anything could be anything. Now, I've met the man. He's a little touchy-feely for my liking, but I did not get a creepy feeling from him. And my daughter, who has been sexually assaulted by a grandfather, did not get that feeling from him either. That's not to say he didn't do anything. I'm just saying, okay? That's her tale, and I'm sitting on mine. Okay? She's free to tell any yarn she wants. Two can keep a secret when one is dead. Okay? She lured him there. She put the weapon in his hand. She planned it for 3 years with him. 2.5 years with him. Okay? I don't know if there's a video of him testifying. I'm going to look. Okay? I do know there's a deposition of it, and it's a transcription of it. This is a very dysfunctional family. Absolutely. I'll give you that. 100% I'll give you that. Okay? And let me tell you, I'm not a Nick supporter either. I do believe he deserves a new trial. I do believe that she framed him. I do believe that there's a possibility that he thinks that he put those 4 final blows into her and that killed her, and it didn't, because there are 13 stab wounds, guys, hesitation wounds, and there's actually a handprint on the back next to one of the stab wounds, and nobody ever identified that handprint, and we've never seen an autopsy report. It's been sealed now for his new trial. Why? Why? Do you know what the medical examiner's report actually said? Somebody started floating around that the medical examiner's thing actually said that it was the 9th, and Nick didn't get there till the 10th and all of that. That's why I was looking for the bus ticket. And I'm still looking for the bus ticket because I do want to verify all this. Okay. But, okay. She had 9 boyfriends before Nick. Wow. The trial went on. He already has been tried and convicted, but he's going for an appeal, and I'm hoping he gets the retrial. I hope he gets a new case, okay? What was I saying? Damn it. Oh, okay. That's why I was looking. Okay, but you know what the death certificate actually says? My friend went to the sister's house, because I still have friends within the Petrie family, which is Dee Dee's family. If you don't know who the Petries are, okay. I haven't released the medical records, guys. I don't know if there's medical records that were released in the free public records, but that's not where I got the medical records. So, right. What adult, who would be doing that? Somebody who maybe is doing cam work, maybe a sex trafficking ring. I don't freaking know what these people were doing, guys. I'm not saying they were good people. I'm simply telling you, I think the Gypsy is lying. I think she's making her mother to be a monster because it makes a good story. I think she was her best friend. I think she did take care of her for all those years. And I do think the Gypsy just didn't want to take care of her no more. In fact, she says it. Well, I didn't want to wait till she was done, till she passed away. That could be, she could live to be 70. And I didn't want to wait to live my life until she was 70. I mean, the siblings have alleged that this is what Dee Dee did to their own mother. So she finds an easily manipulated guy, okay? Who wouldn't go, hey, here's my Patsy. The second Nick walks in and says, I'm a 500-year-old vampire who likes killing. And if you watch her Dr. Phil episode, she says that she thought that that was normal, that people might actually be that because she didn't know. But if you've watched all the other ones, she says other things. And if you read her damn book, it says a whole nother thing about it. Okay? So I'm just saying, do we really know that Dee Dee is the monster that she's making her out to be? Or do what we know is that she gave her daughter a very spoiled, very privileged, very princessed life, and all she had to do was sit in a wheelchair for it. That's it. Everything else was medically necessary. Everything else done to her was real. But if she just ran away and mom went looking for her and the police got involved, do you know that Gypsy would be sitting in jail for life for the fraud that she committed? Life. She was facing life. And if mom just died regularly, okay? If mom just died regularly, all the fraud would be left on Gypsy's head. So I think, okay, and this is allegedly and just what I'm thinking through right now, and I may change my opinion on this 2 days from now because I just look at new evidence and I look at new things and I think it through, okay? I think she could still be charged with fraud. I'm not sure. There's a lot of loopholes in her plea bargain, okay? And I've been looking at those to see what she could or could not be charged with. Okay. Because her being out on the street is dangerous, guys. I'm not doing it to be fucking vindictive. I'm doing it because she's a fucking public menace and so is her family. They're dangerous people who hurt people. Lots of people. They've hurt lots of people while they were in prison. And Christy was causing all kinds of drama and stuff. And not just me, other people, good people, decent people, people who did nothing but try to help them, people that were loyal to them, people that her own Gypsy's best friend, she is the godmother of her children, she turned on. Because why? Because she didn't want Rachel making any more TikToks about her because it took away from the money she was making from her book deal. That's in an email that she sent to Rachel. And it's out there. Rachel's already been talking about it and shown it. She doesn't have any tools. That's what I'm trying to tell you. She never went through any counseling, ma'am. Her parents aren't encouraging to her and she thinks she's perfectly fucked hard fine. There's no tools. You're missing the fucking point. I'm sorry, Zen. I'm not really mad at you. I'm just mad in general. Yeah, you know what? I am afraid she will come for me. Am I scared of her? No. I'm always packing. But she's one of the reasons I'm always packing. Do you understand? That's fine, T. Hodge. You can pull off. I said that this was going to be a very emotional, very, very angry conversation. I don't normally get this excited and upset, but I'm very upset about this. These people have hurt me. They've hurt my family. They've hurt people I care about. They've hurt others, and they will continue to do so. She was a scamming. They're scammers. They're a scammer family, and that's all they were doing. And Gypsy freaking spun a yarn. Okay? No, but the feds can come after her. Okay, so the state of Missouri chose not to prosecute her for fraud, but she has committed huge oodles and oodles and oodles. I'm talking up in the millions of dollars of fraud, guys, on a federal level. So if the feds find out that why am I so angry? Well, watch the whole video and you'll understand, okay? No, I'm not related to her. I worked with the team. I worked with her for 3 years. I was her PR team until I figured out that the things that they were saying did not line up with the evidence. Okay? And then they set out to destroy my life. And they did. They have blackballed me from every freaking news station. They have changed the narrative with the media. They say that I sell false stories to the media. I've never been paid for a story I've ever given to any news station, any magazine, anything. Okay. They say that I stalked them and harassed them and bullied them. They say that I'm a felon. I'm not. They call me a domestic abuser when I'm a domestic violence survivor. So if you want to know why I'm angry, I don't think the statute of limitations runs out on federal fraud. Okay. She has no interest in living an honest. I want to put that up. This is exactly it. It's all she knows. She has no interest in living an honest and crime-free life. She's a professional scam artist, and that's exactly what she's doing today. Yeah, I'm live on Facebook and YouTube and all of them. I upgraded my StreamYard so I could go live everywhere because everybody says they can't see it. So, okay. That's why I'm angry, guys. I'm not angry just because I'm a fucking piece of shit angry person who wants to freaking beat up on a person that has Munchausen by proxy, okay, that her mother had Munchausen by proxy and tortured her and all that. Dude, I just had a person on the other night, and she was on Hidden True Crime, Mara, Kate. I think it's Kate, and I don't know what her last name is, but her name's Kate. Do you understand that her mother actually had part of her leg amputated? So when people say that Gypsy Rose is the worst case of medical child abuse that they've ever seen, and they've never actually looked at her files, it pisses me off. Okay? She's stealing from the people, the real victims, the real people that need to be advocated for, the people that I got involved with this for in the first place. That's what I think. I think she was doing some sort of OnlyFans webcam. I don't know what was going on back in 2015. I wasn't aware of all that shit back then. Okay. So I'm not just after Gypsy Rose because I just want to be a jerk or I'm obsessed with her. I'm after her because her family and her, and even her husband, who is now, it has come out that the reason that he was fired was not because of Gypsy. That was just the icing on the cake, folks. He had already been brought up on misconduct charges with students. And it's not allegedly, okay? But it's not sexual in nature that I know of. However, there are some people out there alleging it was. But one of the things is, I guess, that he apparently allegedly said to a child. Now, this is a man who the guy from Bachelorette says that when he approached, weren't together through the prison email system, started threatening him through text messages. I don't know if that's true or not. It's just what People magazine, I believe, put out at one point in time. Okay. All right. But he has been brought up and said that he was fired for misconduct from the school. And what the Godejohn is, and I posted this on my TikTok. I don't think I put it on here yet, but I posted on the TikTok, and Rachel's been posting it as well. Rachel's her best friend, ex-best friend, who she really did a number on. Okay. I don't think that's all he said. I don't think that's all he said. He basically told a kid that he could fuck his mother at any time. And he's a special education teacher, guys, with special education children. And he's going after some girl in prison who looks like a child. That guy is weird. Something is wrong with this whole situation. Have you seen her hitting him to tell him to shut up and all the conversations? Guys, something is not right with these people. They're not okay. And they are out here with 9 million followers. And most of those followers are under the age of 25. They are talking to our youth. Why am I so upset about her being on social media? Why am I so upset that she's an influencer now? It's not about the money. I mean, I think the money is disgusting. And I think that's what she's using it for. And it's just another scam, just like every other fucking scam she's run her whole damn life, and the whole, the generations of her family running all these scams. Okay. She's dangerous to our youth. She already pimped out her 15-year-old nephew, telling girls to hit him up on the DM. He's 15. Yes, Tina, that's what we posted at the beginning. Ryan, my friend who's joined the team, she posted a PSA and I played it at the beginning. And then I talked about Gypsy in her own words. You guys have got to go back to the beginning and listen to Ryan's PSA because it makes so much sense. Okay. She's not advocating for anyone but herself. She talks about being an advocate. What advocating has she done? None. She read a fucking pamphlet, poorly at that. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Some kid is going to go out there and say, my mom didn't buy me the latest video game, and now I'm going to kill her. But Gypsy, because Gypsy got away with it, and it's abuse. And what she did to Nick, regardless of whether Nick is a scary dude or not, regardless if Nick had prior charges, which he did, he had one prior charge. It was dropped. He was not arrested. He was not put through the court system for it. He was not fully charged with it. He was arrested for masturbating at McDonald's, and that's it. There were no children present. He never exposed himself to anybody. Yes, it's gross and weird and strange, but what the fuck were people doing at McDonald's for 9 hours just allowing him to sit there yanking his noodle? Well, I know she was gay for the stay. I don't know if you're talking about that and saying she was closeted gay. Okay? But what she did to Nicholas is 100% the most diabolical, disgusting, crazy thing I've ever seen. And I talk to serial killers. Okay? She used every tactic her mother ever taught her to convince that boy, who told her no 1,000 fucking times, that he didn't want to do this. And he told other people he didn't want to do it. And he begged her, even when he was coming on the bus, he still, knowing what he was going to go there and do, he didn't want to do it. No matter how much he says he's a 500-year-old vampire who likes killing. Okay, well, if you're a 500-year-old vampire and that's your role play, of course you fucking like killing. You're a vampire. But she heard that, and she used every tactic she could for 2 years. She thought she did search engines. Okay, she searched arson. She thought of burning her mother alive. Everything that Gypsy came up with as a way to kill her mother, she talks about she wanted it to be painless. Well, it sure as shit wasn't. And every freaking thing she did, everything she did come up with, yes, I think he does still have feelings for her. Everything she came up with was super painful. Arson, burning her to death, poison, knife, gun. When if she'd really just wanted to kill her mom to get away, all she had to do was pull that needle that she gave her mother insulin with all the time, because she admits she did, and give her an extra dose, and her mama would have gone to sleep. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I had never heard of Demona either. That's the thing. And I didn't watch the whole trial, I admit, because at the time period, it was when all kinds of crazy shit was happening with the Blanchards, and I just didn't watch the whole trial because I didn't really care, because I was convinced at that point in time that Nick was just this horrible, awful dude, and he should just spend the rest of his life rotting in jail, and they should throw away the key. Okay? I did the work. My daughters have done the work. Other people have done the work, just like you said, Matt C. She's refusing to do the work. I still would have given her, okay, a pass on all of it if she just told the fucking truth. I was willing to go to bat for them. I sat on their back porch and listened to Rod play his fucking guitar, and I told them, you can't see all the comments because some of them are on YouTube, honey. Okay? I told them, no matter what you tell me, I will make sure that the story is told properly. Okay? But I want the good, the bad, the ugly. Because if I have the good, the bad, the ugly, then I can explain to people how this happened and why this happened. And it doesn't matter beyond that. But instead, all they did, and I say they because it included Christy, it included Rod, all they did was cause chaos and lie because it's all a distraction from the truth. And the truth is, Gypsy was done taking care of her mother. She didn't want to be controlled by her anymore. She wanted to run off and screw random guys all day, all night. She's a freaking horn dog. She obviously still is. She posts about it. She was hypersexual in jail, which does track with her being sexually assaulted at some point in time. I've never said she wasn't abused. I simply said I can't prove it. I have thought about the fact that she could have BPD, borderline personality disorder. It does track. Okay. I don't think she has it in her to tell the truth because I think she's a straight up sociopath. Her mother created that. And Emma created that in Dee Dee. And whoever created it in Emma created it in Emma. And the women in this family are really fucking crazy. Her sisters had no nice things to say about her, guys. Okay, I get that. I'm hoping to interview him. I have talked to him through email before. A lot of people told him that I was terrible because in the beginning, I had a very poor opinion of him. And I had to go back to school. First of all, I had to go back to school to understand Nick and get an understanding of what he's actually talking about when he talks about twin flames and the personalities. It's not DID. Okay, it's not DID. Okay. He doesn't have dissociative identity disorder. He does have voices in his head, and he does have they're archetypes from what I can tell. I believe he did go through therapy. He, at one point in time, his mother had him in therapy. He also did a lot of extensive research of things on the internet. And I think he got involved in what's considered Carl Jung's 7 archetypes. And if you look at his different personalities and what each one of them is described as, and I will show you his emails, I'm working on getting those out and all of that. I'm hoping they can. Okay. He talks about these altars in that manner. It's a philosophy. He's taken several different philosophies, and I can pick them all up for you, and I can point them out. But it took me going back to school to figure this out, guys. Okay? But he's not mentally stable. She knew he was mentally unstable, and she preyed on him. Okay? On top of that, he's a disturbed individual who needs help. Oh God, everybody's hitting me up. I don't know what's going on. Okay. And then on top of that, for my understanding of Nick, for me to help Nick, for me to understand Nick, for me to not just say he's a sick fuck, throw away the key. I have 3 children diagnosed with autism. They weren't diagnosed when all this happened. And I myself have been diagnosed with autism. Didn't understand things when I was first looking at this case. Okay. And while I'm very upset that Katie Joy Carlson thinks that just because that her son is autistic, that he could be manipulated. And she said that. And I think it's appalling because I'm sorry, I could not be manipulated into murdering somebody unless I thought it was right and I was defending myself or defending my family. And that's what Nick was doing. He thought that they were married. He thought that she was pregnant with a baby of theirs that her mother killed by making her put the feeding tube out. Again, I'm sorry, it's getting really hot in here. Let me go turn off my computer. Sorry, guys. Recovering from surgery, and I live in a 1950s house, and the freaking thing, okay, the freaking thing gets cold and hot, cold and hot, cold and hot, drives me crazy. That's the thing, Zen. Okay? That's the problem. This story has been told by the media in the way that Gypsy has wanted. Yeah, guys, yeah. The first tactic she used, and I believe this to be the most truthful in what she asked him to do, okay? And I may not have the best delivery, guys, and I may not be the most professional person, but I'm the only one with the fucking information to give you to understand this damn case. Yes, she's already been buying baby clothes, and now she has a dog because she needed something to take care of that she named Pixie, who, when she had a dog with her mother, who looks exactly like her husband, they had a dog named Pixie. It's a little weird and creepy for me. I know it might be a stretch, but for me, it's creepy and weird, okay? You have to understand the mentality. Yes. Okay. In the scammer families, the extent of the criminal activities and the volume of their sexual depravity always goes beyond what we grasp. Horrible secrets. It's like a cult. Okay? And I'm familiar with cults. Lots of familiarity with cults. I did explain her running away twice, David, earlier. She didn't run away. She left her home. She was over the age of 18. She left her home and she came back of her own volition. She wasn't dragged back. Police didn't bring her home. None of that bullshit. She just went home. Okay? The first thing that she told him about Dee Dee, yeah, the twin flame thing, it runs very deep with him. And that's another philosophy that he's picked up on and used, okay? Yeah, same name, weird. I agree. She could take all her money and hire a lawyer and help Nick. But does she know she's just telling him that he needs to do his time? She did hers, and she wishes him well in his fucking journey. That just pissed me off to no end. Okay. I think she always had freedom, honey. There are tons and tons of reports of Gypsy running around and doing stupid shit all over the place for years. I don't think mom was controlling. I don't think she was as controlling as she says, especially not at the end. I think they were running scams on men online to get money. At least Gypsy was, I think. That's allegedly. Okay. Yeah, she doesn't realize people fact check shit. Dude, your words have been everywhere. But the very first story she told Nick, and I believe this to be the closest to the truth, okay? Because if you listen, there is truth in things Gypsy says, but you have to listen very, very well for it. Okay? Because she does tell on herself, and she does tell the truth, but they're half truths, always. Okay? The first lie she told Nick to get him to try and kill her mom was it would be a mercy killing because her mother was very, very sick and she was dying anyway, and they should just put her out of her misery. And I think that's the truth. I think that's the truth. I think she was tired of taking care of her mom. Her mom had uncontrolled diabetes. My mother did too at the end. Okay? Her mother had GERD. She had gout. She's on painkillers, Xanax, all the things. And I'm not 100% convinced that Dee Dee and her did not plan this. And I'm not convinced that she didn't take a ton of sleeping pills because she didn't move, guys. Dee Dee is a huge woman. Nick is a small dude. Hey, chaotic. Okay? Okay? And there's no defensive wounds. There's no attempt to buck him off. She didn't try to roll over. She didn't try to throw him off. But what she did say, according to Gypsy, there's been two stories, and I think both are true. Why would the last words that Dee Dee said to her daughter be, one, Gypsy, please don't hurt me, and two, I'm not dead yet. I'm not dead yet. The Barney doll is very telling. And Nick even talks about it. They ask him about it. Okay? What kind of murderers, what kind of killers do you know that take care of the body of their victims after they've killed them? Which ones? Don't worry, I'll wait. Do you know? Psychologically speaking, it is typically someone who is close to the victim and has a close personal relationship with the victim Yes, we're going to actually bring her on. We're actually going to bring her on. Kate, she's a sweet girl, super sweet. And Gypsy is currently bullying this girl. Bullying her. A girl who lost her leg because her mother had Munchausen by proxy. And Gypsy is currently on social media bullying this girl. And you tell me she's not dangerous. Sorry, Nikki, you've come into a hell of a conversation. Please don't judge me on the conversation we're having today. She's bullying a lot of people, guys. On TikTok. Kate came on my live and talked about it the other night. She's been posting, and when she reached out to Gypsy, I don't remember Kate's story. I'll have to have her tell it, okay? But she's definitely convinced that Gypsy is currently bullying her and trying to keep her content from being put out there. And this is an actual survivor of Munchausen by proxy. So wouldn't that be somebody that she would want to align with? Okay. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Jenny. Kate needs all the support. It's very sad. And I have called her parole officer, and unless I bring charges against her, he won't do anything for the bullying and the defaming and the slander and all the things that she's doing. And she's really good at getting other people to do her shit for her so she don't have to do it. Okay? I adore Kate. She's a very sweet girl. I adore her too. And I want you to think about Kate and Olivia Gant and Garnet Spears and all the other children who die at the hands of their parent who does this to them. But Gypsy Rose Blanchard is the worst case of medical child abuse anybody's seen, guys. Don't you know? Mark Feldman said so, even though he never looked at the files and never spoke to Gypsy. I believe that 100% Zen. Everything does happen for a reason. And the 7 years of hell that they've put me through is because I had to go through all those things to get to here today, because it's made me the person I am today. And I've lost a lot of people along the way. And a lot of those people are people who talk shit about me. But you know what? Those are people who don't deserve to be at my table, because at one point in time, I was good to all those people too. But I want you to think, everybody says, well, why would Gypsy do it? Why would Gypsy do it? Why would Gypsy do it? And I want you to talk about this right now. I want to show you. She got Disney trips, best hotels, all the clothes, everything she wanted. She had internet, she had phones, she had laptops. She got trips on yachts, and she got to go meet celebrities. Celebrities gave her money. She had tons and tons and tons and tons of donations from just unsuspecting people. Okay? So I'm not just out here picking on a little girl. That girl is 32 years old. 33 maybe. I am putting out a public service announcement because she's dangerous and her family is dangerous. And given the chance, they will use you, they will abuse you, and they will throw you away, just like they've done everybody else. You know what, Hello Starlight, I don't either. And you know what, it makes me mad. It to me, it equates to like stolen valor. I was talking to my husband about this last night because he watches The Fat Electrician. And The Fat Electrician was doing this thing. No, I'm sorry. He watches The Fat Electrician, but it was Angry Cops. He watches all of those guys. And Angry Cops was doing a thing about this woman that did the stolen valor and all the things that she did. And that's how I feel that this is. I feel like this is stolen valor from real victims of medical child abuse. And it was all coming to an end, guys. Somebody just said this. I believe all the benefits were coming to an end. Their trips and benefits were coming to an end. Her mom was ill and she was done and ready to move on. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Think about what she tells I want you to think about it. Watch Gypsy talk. Write down what she says. Write down the stories. and then verify them against the other stories that she says. And think about the times that she does tell the truth, because on the stand, she told the truth. And what did she say? They even gave her, Ryan did this. Ryan did a really great video about this yesterday, and I missed it and I didn't think about it. Okay. But you got to think about something she says. They ask her, why did you want Nick to kill your mother? Does she say, because I suffered medical abuse for years and years and years and my mom made me sick and all of that? No. Does she say that, oh my God, Kate is an actual survivor of medical child abuse who lost her legs because of her mother? That's who Kate is. Does she say, oh my God, I was so scared of my mom and I just didn't know any other way out? No. The answer that she gives is, I wanted out from the control of my mother. Okay? And being a controlling mother does not a monster make. My mother was controlling as F. Lots of moms are, especially if you got a teenage daughter who's totally out of fucking control and wants to have sex with every 35-year-old man in the fucking world. Okay? Yeah, I think I'm going to do a live panel. I just now signed up for the StreamYard where I can do things like that, because I used to use a different service. I think it's Maya, MYA, or guys, please tell them who Kate is. Okay? Yeah, she was looking up that. And I also think she researched. Okay, here's another one I want to give you before I go. Okay? I want you to think about what she's out there saying right now. Right now, she's out there on podcasts and The View and all these places, and she's saying that she doesn't identify as a murderer. And what reason is she giving? Right? She explains it very well, that the reason that she was charged with second-degree murder is because in the state of Missouri, they do not have an accessory to murder charge. Correct? So, do you think Gypsy did maybe a little research while she was looking up how to kill her mom? Maybe she was looking up how to get away with it? Because think about that. She literally thought the whole time she was in interrogation, she sat there asking the entire time, can I get my things from Nick's house and go home? She's who made the disgusting Facebook post. She's the one who mailed the knife and the glove to his home. She's the one who orchestrated everything. She's the one who paid for it all. She's the one who bought the bus tickets, planned it all, decided it all. She's all those things, okay? And she's going around talking about how she's not a murderer because she didn't put the knife in her mama's back. She truly believed she was going to walk out of that station, throw Nick so far under the bus, guys, and she was going with he forced me to leave with him. He forced this onto me. He's sexually sick. She says all of those things. She tells the truth in those things. You can tell when she's telling the truth. And if you haven't seen my analysis of her interrogation video, I did half of it. I'm going to do more of it. Go watch that. Watch that. Then go listen to my video that I read, or go back to the beginning of this video and listen to Gypsy in her own words talk about the fucking crime spree she wanted to go on when she was with Nick after they unalived her mother. Okay? Did she search and think, oh, well, if I don't do it and I get Nick to come do this, then I'll just walk away scot-free? And what was the motivation for that, guys? I don't know if it was that she didn't want to take care of her mother anymore. I don't know what the fuck it was. But I can tell you this. If she'd gone down for fraud, she'd be in jail for life. Because it's extensive amounts of fraud. And it wasn't just medical fraud. There's other fraud things, the schemes that they were running. Way more. Way more. So welcome to my TED Talk. I'm concerned for the puppy too. Please don't imitate her voice. It's scary. You should have Ryan imitate her voice. It's even better than mine. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to pop off now. I know I said take questions, but I'm exhausted from my huge soapbox TED Talk. I'm sorry that it was heated. I'm sorry that it got a little out there. I think they were too. I think they were closing in on it, guys. I really think the gig was up. They were really in a lot of hot water. That's my reason why I believe that Dee Dee could have helped plan her own murder. I mean, I've only got two different thought processes on this. One, She killed her because she didn't want to take care of her anymore. She wanted to do the time for the fraud, and she wanted out, and she found a patsy, and she took care, and she threw him under the bus, and she walked away, and she did 8 years, which isn't a whole lot of fucking time to do for murder and to be escape your mother for the rest of your life that you don't want to deal with. Or Dee Dee and her planned it because they knew that the gig was up, and Dee Dee didn't want to leave her daughter, who she did love, who she did provide for, and who she gave an extremely wonderful, beautiful freaking life, no matter how much she had to sit in a damn wheelchair. Okay? And they decided to take some sleeping pills, get a guy to come in and do it, and then Gypsy would go scot-free. Okay? It's all alleged. It's just my thoughts and feelings. Brian is now working with me, and so we'll probably be able to get a lot more short form content out and do some more things that shows you guys, you don't have to do an hour and 15 minutes, 2 hours, whatever talk. You guys can get information faster. Okay. Follow me on the socials. Join Patreon if you want to support us. I put a lot of documents in there, and I plan to put way more. And it's one of the only ways I can protect myself from all these people that keep trying to steal my work. I just had a whole mess of drama with another TikToker who caused all kinds of crap yesterday, which is why there won't be a live from last night's TikTok up today. That's why I came on live to talk to you guys personally, because this is pretty much what we talked about last night. I do think we'll pull some clips from it because Ryan made some great points when we were on. Okay. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I really do appreciate it. Alrighty. We're on all socials at Good Wives Net. And thank you all. Mwah. Bye.